Hi. Hi again. My name is Robert Thomas DeVincentis, and I'm the author of the Book of Kings. It deals with the historical origins on four subjects: science, nature, man, and God. And it also deals with and explains aftermath science, in which I am the author. I'm going to show you the book cover as I always do. This is the cover of the book, and you'll see that it says Book of Kings, and it has my name here. If you actually go online and Google Robert Thomas DeVincentis, the Book of Kings, you'll get this little girl with a telescope. If you can't afford the book, well, then just listen to the talks. It's not that expensive, but get the hardback copy if you get one. Today we're going to be talking about no ice age. Wow. And the movement of the planets. And on the back of the book, you'll see the Earth, and you'll see all the stars of the sky and so forth. And again, as we talk about the Earth and so forth, we did talk that the Earth is really the center of God's timepiece, and that has to do with the light that comes from the Earth, or comes upon the Earth, and it gives us the seasons and so forth. So anyway, why isn't there an ice age? You know, people live a long time. You ask anybody, they're 100 years old and are still around, did you ever see a winter that never stopped? They're going to tell you no. And that's right. Nowhere in recorded history, except only recently, when all this high-tech stuff come along, that people were proclaiming that there was ice ages and things like this that, killed dinosaurs and that. Yes, it is true. We do have two polar ice caps. And using the Galileo model, again, where the Earth goes around the sun and so forth with the planets, and they have their seasonal tip of their, the Earth does on its axis, that gives you the seasons. Those are constant. We're entering in the middle of September here, and now we're getting into fall, and you can feel the change. It doesn't always happen automatically. Why am I telling you all this? Well, that's because modern science today is not only being a bad witness, they are actually scaring the bejesus out of people with all kinds of things. A new ice age is coming, or the Earth is going to heat up to the degree that you're not going to be able to live here and all this kind of stuff. Well, that puts you in a planet where, there really isn't a God. And if we looked at the historical records, which we have, that are thousands of years old, it said that when God created the world, that it was good. This whole idea that, you're going to perish because of global warming and ice ages, and all the animals are going to die, and we're overusing fossil fuels, and these are all things that we do need to be good stewards of the earth, that we don't overdo things, but these are natural things here. So if we're saying that the earth goes around the sun and the seasons are constant, there's never going to be a time, ever, where you're going to have miles and miles of ice and the extinction of this, that, and the other, and comets striking the earth. No, this is all scientific junk. That's what's happening today. Now, we do have very intelligent scientists, and they're great. Their mathematical abilities and to explain, the cosmos to some degree is great. But when they start going outside of the things that God would want you to know or feel, you're actually feeling abandoned. You're feeling abandoned by God on earth. And you don't have any other where to go. This is the only place that you have. So yes, you should take care of it, but not to the degree where you should go out. We have great days here where you go out and the sun is all great, and everything else, and you have all these people worried about fossil fuels. Yeah, and these are the biggest offenders, if there is any. They get in their planes and their multi-homes and everything else, and yet they're trying to tell you how to live. But I agree. Like if you burn all the leaves in the city at one time, well, you're going to get smoke, and it's not going to be very pleasant. So you need to have some restrictions on how you're going to do that, and you don't want pollution and all these kinds of things. So we said that there's these movements, the celestial movements of galaxies, the Earth, and so forth. Did you know that it says that in the Bible itself, it gives you the constellations of some constellations. So all the planets are moving away and the stars are no longer. No, sorry. Again, as long as you're here on Earth, whatever it says in that Bible, it's going to be here. Those constellations, the North Star that we used to navigate, or in our infancy, we used all those. Now we have, phones with GPS in it. But at any rate, you could still navigate by the stars and that, and they're good. So there is movements to some degree, but there's a constancy that some of our people that have studied this stuff, they realize that there is a constancy. So the further out that you go into the cosmos and you start getting in the galaxies, and again, you're a bad witness. You think you could see something 100,000 light years away and make an explanation of it? No, I don't think so. You could see the galaxies and that they turn, and they have these wings that go around in a circle, or arms rather, if you want to call them that. I mean, celestial movements. I mean, these are all beautiful pictures. You can see them on the internet. Different companies and places that have these telescopes and that. They put all that stuff out there, and it's great to see it. However, when they start making up a bunch of hoopla about how you're going to demise, and it puts you in a particular situation on Earth here where you have no hope. You're just in outer space, just floating along, and someday if we don't protect ourselves, well, so what? You have no hope if that is your reasoning. And yet, these are all hypothetical theories that they're bringing down. And a lot of them do have some truth to them, but there are theories. And theories are not true. Now, all of a sudden, the Big Bang theory is going away. I said there was no Big Bang theory over 40 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, am I going to get credit for that? I didn't have a telescope. I can do a better job than they can do with the greatest telescopes from my back porch. I don't need to spend millions of dollars to go out there to say something. There's no life on any planets out there. You're not going to find it. This is the place where you're going to live. You're not going to go 100 million light years to find another planet like ours. No, and I brought this out, that Jerusalem is the place that the person, God, that person, made the universe and everything in it. Even though we're a speck of dust in comparison to everything else, that this place here on Earth is the planet of consequence, the blue planet. Nothing out there is going to ever, in your lifetime, and I don't care how long. So you're going to get captured by science, false science, by the way, science that doesn't talk about God. They make science their God, and that science brought about everything that you see. No, it did not. Science is a gift from God, and you don't have all the information in your toolbox about it. You can only go so far because you don't have the comprehension of how to understand some of these things. So that in itself should bring you to God. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? The movement of the planets. And, I see stuff all the time, the Earth is moving with the sun, and we're That's true. And the sun has got some movement, I'm sure. If you look at another galaxy, and we mirror other galaxies, basically, and they're spiraling. So you would see that there probably is other movements within it, but it's not like to the degree where things are going to, for our sake anyway, where they're going to be crashing into it. You got a better probability of some scientific person trying to, protect the Earth from asteroids or something from hitting it and causing something to go off course and then create a great catastrophe here. So as we go through the things that are being taught here in the schools about a comet killing all the dinosaurs, and I talked about this the other day, that's another erroneous thing that's never happened. There's only one catastrophe that basically destroyed everything, and that was the flood. And that was caused by God, who brought damage on the earth because he was sorry that he created man, but he gave him another chance. And so we have a Redeemer now. We have Jesus Christ. And I explain that. So that's the person that you should have your focus on. So anyway, what about you as the individual? Okay, what about you as the individual? Do you have purpose in life? Yes, you do. Yes, you were created in the image of God. We're his children, and we're all at different levels. Some people have, more information or, faith in God than other people do, but that's a difference. So when we get into these things about the Ice Age and people trying to scare you, and science trying to say this was an Ice Age thing, continental drift, which I went over again, never happened to what they're saying. Yeah, there is some movement of the plates and stuff, but not that it's going to drift. And the age of the universe is not as old as people are portraying it to be anyway. So these are all things that you get caught up in as an individual, and things that you don't really need to be caught up in. So if the Earth is tipping on its axis, and the planets, and the seasons, and the moon and everything, they show the different seasons. Those are constants for as long as you're on Earth. And even though there's other celestial bodies and they might be moving and so forth, just like the Earth does, they continue. There's a continuum. So these are things that you don't have to be worried about. The sky is not going to fall on you. And because you have a car that burns gasoline in it, some of this stuff is dangerous. I mean, I have to admit it. And the same thing about the planet tipping on its axis. If you don't wear the proper clothing, or, in the heat or the winter or whatever, you could expire from that. You could get exposure. That's always been the case after the flood. Before the flood, it was not like that. Everything was domed. There was a different type of atmosphere around the earth. And then after the flood, that all changed. Those things were taken away. We have more rain, more weather. The ice caps happened on the different poles and that. Those are the only logical explanation. And I say logical because there's a chronological order. Look, if I said at one time I used to be a deputy sheriff and I used to investigate crime scenes or whatever, or I was a military guy, I was in the army, I did all that stuff. But anyway, that's just a little bit about me. Once you make something, then it has a traceable history. That's evidence. That evidence was contaminated when it was destroyed by a great flood. That's caused the Grand Canyons and everything else to form by the water movements and all these currents and things like that. And then it reduced down to a river after everything receded. But I'm telling you right now, those canyons are not what you think, and we're going to talk about this at another time. How could you find dinosaur footprints down at the bottom of the canyon? Wouldn't they be more like up at the top? And if you find footprints and dinosaur footprints in the same hard rock that was soft at one time and then it hardened, so that's what you can find. You can find that. And again, everything has changed after this evolutionary period took place. And now science is, which is totally devoid of God. They could say, oh, no, we believe. No, you don't. You're constantly, against the uniformity. The uniform of the universe, somebody tried to point that out and say, well, that couldn't happen on its own. But that couldn't be anything that God had anything to do with. So just think about that for a minute. How far off could you be in your education or what it is that you think that you understand? How far off could you be if you don't take into account that there really is a God? You're way off. And that's what's happened in our society today. So these talks and things that I talk about are here for your benefit, to bring you back to down to earth where you belong. You belong here on this planet, not out in outer space. You can dream about it. You can think about those things. Maybe you'll get into a spacecraft someday and, go to the moon. I don't know. But at any rate, you're going to have, the only way you're going to live is if you live off the things that were sent by Mother Earth. That's it. That's the final. So if I sound strong, well, that's because I'm the only one that's really giving you the information. There's a million other people out there that are not going to agree with me. But you might be the one that has both. You can see what I'm saying so that you don't have to worry. You could sleep at night. You don't have to worry about stuff that's constantly being bombarded at you, which I don't like. And I think it's a falsehood, and it's a terrible plight that not only has happened here in the United States, but across Europe and everywhere else. So based on that, I want you to feel safe, that you have a purpose, and that you're going to learn things that possibly you're never going to hear from anybody else by listening to some of these talks. And that's a good thing. So I wish you a good evening, and God bless you.